الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. I was with the discussion before Jalsa Salana. It was the discussion about the companions of the Holy Prophet, and we were discussing about Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu and what had happened during his era. And of course, we were discussing about what happened in relation to the advance to Syria, because it is said that when the companions were pursuing the hypocrites, then he took his thought of pursuing those who were attacking and disturbing the Muslims from the Syrian side. Of course, he did not make them aware it was a sudden attack. It was all the current Syria at that time was all Syria, and it was all controlled by Caesar during that time. As at Sharabil bin Hassana, as they were trying to pursue this, he came to him and then said, "O the Khalifa of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are you thinking of attacking or advancing to Syria?" And Hazrat Umar said, "Yes, that is the intention, but I haven't informed anyone." And then, "Why are you asking this?" Hazrat Abu Bakr inquired. And then Hazrat Sharabil responded and said, "Yes, O the Khalifa of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I saw a dream, a vision where you and your companions were going through a difficult terrain. And then you climbed on the peak and looked at the people down, and then there were also other people who were with you. And then you came down at a very plain where it has farms and plants, and then you addressed the Muslims and said that you should attack the idolaters. And I assure you, you receive spoils of war." And then they attacked, and I remember I was among one of the troops. And then we passed a group of people, and they sought a truce, and we gave them a truce. And then I was trying to pursue you, but you had already reached at a fort, and you were already given victory. They asked for truce, and they offered you a throne, and you sat on that chair and throne and said, people said, "God has given you victory," and Allah has given you victory. People have supported you. Now you should praise Allah. And a person who was saying this also recited that إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرْهُ إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا. That when the help of Allah comes and His victory, and then you see people entering the religion of Allah in manifolds, in groups, then you should praise Allah and also seek His forgiveness, because He's most often returning with repentance. This was a dream which a companion saw and narrated to Hazrat Abu Bakr. And Hazrat Abu Bakr said that you saw a very good dream, a true vision, and it will be fulfilled, inshallah. And then Hazrat Abu Bakr said, "You have given two messages, my victory and also the news of my death." And then Hazrat Abu Bakr, as he was uttering these words, he started crying, and he said, that when I reached at the peak and was seeing people below me, the interpretation of this dream is that we shall go a difficult terrain is difficult terrain, and then also, and as far as returning towards where the plains were nice with farms, the interpretation for that is that as you saw these green areas and also forts around there, then we shall find ease where we shall find castles and protection, and we shall have a more fertile land. And as far as giving an order to the Muslims that attack the enemy, the idolaters, and giving them assurance of bounties and spoils of war, it is in relation to send my companions and the companions of the Holy Prophet to different enemies. And as far as seeing yourself carrying a flag I gave you and entering a village, and people ask truce, and also you are accepted to have a truce with them, it means that you will be one of those who will be sent to an area which you will be conquered by you. And there is also an interpretation of the castle which we took. Then that is an area where Allah will give me victory. And as far as the throne where you saw me sitting on that throne, the interpretation is that Allah will give me honor in the world, and as far as the order of saying that you should obey Allah, and I should obey Allah as well, and reciting إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ, this was a message for my death, because when this was recited to the Holy Prophet, it was when he said that I'm being given the news of my death. This is the interpretation which was given by Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala. And when Hazrat Abu Bakr intended to send the troop to Syria, then he called Hazrat Umar, Uthman, Hazrat Abdurrahman bin Auf, Hazrat Talha, and Hazrat Zubair, and Hazrat Sa'ad bin Waqas, Ubaidah bin Jarrah, and some other people of Badr, the big Sahabas. He called for them, the revered Sahabas, and when they came to him, he said when they came to him that Allah's bounties are insurmountable. We can't count the favors upon Allah, and we cannot reward him through our action. God has been kind to us, and he has gathered you under one hand and under one religion, and he has also reconciled your differences, and he has guided you through Islam, and he has kept Satan away from you. Now Satan cannot make you engage in idol worshipping. Now we are one unity, we are one religion, we are like a family for one mother. Now I'm intending to send you to Rome, and whoever will be killed is a martyr, and Allah has prepared a big reward for them, and anyone who returns is a hero, and then a defender of Islam, and also will be deserving of the reward of a protector of Islam. And then he took an opinion from them. Then Hazrat Umar Khattab stood and said, all praise are due to Allah. Allah grants whatever he wants to someone, anything good to whoever he wills. By God, in whatever he wanted to advance for you, before you, you have always been ahead of us. Allah gives favor upon whomsoever he wills. I wanted to meet you. I swear in the name of Allah, I was about to consult with you about the same issue we're discussing. And God arranged that I couldn't discuss this with you until you mentioned it. And your opinion is a true opinion, is a good opinion. God has guided you towards what we should be doing. Then Hazrat Umar bin Auf, Hazrat Zubair, Hazrat Sa'ad, Hazrat Abu Ubaidah, Hazrat Sa'id bin Zaid, Hazrat Ali, and all other companions who were there, they all conquered and supported your opinion, and then they said, we shall listen to you and obey you. We will not turn against your orders, and we will respond to your call. Then Hazrat Abu Bakr stood up to address them once again, and then he praised Allah. And then he sent Darood upon the Holy Prophet, salutations upon the Holy Prophet, and said, O people, God has given you the favor of Islam, which is a sign of kindness from him. God has given you supremacy through the religion of Islam over other religions. I urge you to be ready for a battle with the Romans. And I'm due to send you to Syria, and I will appoint some leaders among you, but don't turn against them, and keep your intentions clear, and be of good conduct, and keep simple food and good food, and Allah like those who are pious and righteous, and who keep clean. Then Hazrat Abu Bakr ordered Hazrat Bilal that he should announce in people that all people, whoever who is ready to go for a battle in Syria, he should be ready, and he should be ready for this battle. For this battle, he sent Hazrat Khalid bin Sa'id as a commander, and when he returned to Medina in the 13th year of Hijr, then he sent him with an army with other companions. And other people, other historians say that when as Abu Bakr sent him to Iraq, he also sent Khalid bin Sa'id to that side with him. So the first flag which was raised there was Khalid bin Sa'id. The first flag to be raised there was that of Khalid bin Sa'id. And it is said that when Hazrat Abu Bakr was sending another battle to the Syrians, he sent him to Syria, and he told him to go to a place called Taima, and he told him that you should not leave that place until you receive other orders and call them toward Islam, and you should only attack those or fight those who fight you, and only those who have apostate, who have turned away from Islam, and don't fight them until they fight you. Taima is a place between Medina and Syria. Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala, he prepared people of Medina and also other people in the surrounding ally friends. He urged them to follow his troop to Rome, and he wrote a letter to the Romans, and he said, this is a letter from the Caliph of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the people of the Romans. Whoever follows guidance, may Allah have peace upon him. I call you towards our God, who is unique, who has no partner, and Allah has said, "Wajahidu bi amwalikum wa anfusikum fi sabilillah," that you should fight in the way of Allah with yourselves and your wealth. So, fighting in the way of Allah, jihad, is compulsory. And he gave an order to go and fight the Romans. And he said, "Oh, people of Allah, you should not go and turn against the word of your God or your Prophet. You will either receive victory, or when you come back as victors, you will have spoils of war. And Allah is pleased with those who fight in the way of Allah until people accept the truth. May Allah protect you. May Allah protect your religion. May Allah guide you. May Allah cleanse your heart and guide your actions. May Allah make you very steadfast, and may Allah reward you with the best reward." And then Hazrat Anas bin Malik, he says that when I went to Yemen, I started with different people, and I recited this letter of Hazrat Abu Bakr. Whenever I finished reading this letter, I would say, "All praise are due to Allah, and I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is prophet and messenger." And he would say that I am a messenger from the Caliph of Allah. And he says, "I've left the Muslims when the idolaters, they are ready to attack them, and they are only waiting for support from you people, from people like you. So you should join your brothers, all Muslims. May Allah have mercy upon you." And then, as he returned and gave him glad tidings, he says that some people who are truthful are joining you, are ready to join you. And then Hazrat Abu Bakr, he told, when he came, Khalid bin Sa'id, he waited, and then when the group came to join them and they received some news about the Romans, then Hazrat Abu Bakr and Hazrat Khalid bin Sa'id, writing to him about the preparation, he said, don't worry about when we should advance and when we should go. Just ask and pray to Allah for success. And Hazrat Sa'id, he advanced towards them. And then as he advanced, the enemies just dispersed. And then Hazrat Khalid bin Sa'id took that area with ease, and also people joined him, they accepted Islam. And then he wrote back to Hazrat Abu Bakr when he went forward to attack. And then Hazrat Abu Bakr wrote him and said, don't advance further. And then they moved a little bit, and then they camped in a certain place. And then Khalid bin Sa'id attacked the person who came to attack him with a small group of army. And then they also went to Damascus and camped there. Then he wrote back to Khalid bin Sa'id wrote back to Hazrat Abu Bakr and inquired more support. And there were some people who had come, and apart from people of Mecca and Yemen who had gathered, where Hazrat Zul Kalam was among those, Hazrat Ikrimah, he returned after fighting the people of Ikrimah, and there were some people who were with him. Hazrat Abu Bakr ordered all of them and wrote to other leaders that those who want to change, they should change and then come. And they all preferred to be changed. And then there was a Jaysh al-Bidal, and this went to Khalid bin Walid, and then they were ready to go to attack the Roman. Khalid bin Quba and Khalid bin Sa'id, they were ordered by Hazrat Abu Bakr to advance, and when they took a message to them from Hazrat Abu Bakr, then they said that the people of Medina, they need support, and Hazrat Abu Bakr is ready to send further troops. Then Hazrat Sa'id was overwhelmed with happiness, and then he said he thought that we shall receive victory with their support. And he wanted to. Bahan was heading a troop of the army which wanted to send forward, and by doing that they forgot the orders of Hazrat Abu Bakr that don't advance further unless you receive further orders. So they were unaware of the further support which was required to protect the supply lines. Then they advanced, but they were surrounded from behind, and the supply lines were cut off. And this is what Hazrat Abu Bakr had warned them about. But Khalid bin Sa'id was unaware, he forgot, and then had advanced. And then Hazrat Khalid bin Sa'id, seeing that he was being surrounded, and as he was in the middle of the army, and he was with Khalid bin Walid bin Uqba, Talha, and Ikrimah, they were with him. Then some people they fought, and then Sa'id and the son of Hazrat Khalid bin Walid, as they were going to get some water, they surrounded them, and then some of them were killed. And then they received the news, when Khalid bin Sa'id received the news of his son and other companions being killed, then they escaped, they fled. And then all other people, they broke away. And as had Khalid was facing defeat, he came to Dhul Marwa, and then Hazrat Ikrimah did not move, did not advance. He remained in support. Dhul Marwa is a place between Mecca and Medina, and Hazrat Ikrimah went to Behan, and when Hazrat Abu Bakr learned about the defeat of Hazrat Khalid bin Sa'id, then he did not give Khalid Sa'id to come back to Medina. But eventually, when he received the permission to come in, then he came to Hazrat Abu Bakr and sought for forgiveness. In spite of this defeat of Hazrat Sa'id, Hazrat did not change the resolute decision of Hazrat Abu Bakr he had made of advancing. Then they went to Syria, and then Hazrat Abu Bakr, without wasting any time, he made other arrangements to go for further attacks. Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq prepared 4 troops which were to go and attack at different areas from Syria. And the details is there's the Battle of Yazid, which was led by Yazid bin Abu Sufyan. This one battalion, and he was the best among the people of Abu Sufyan. And with these 4 groups, this was the first group, the first battalion, which went to go to Syria. And he made Yazid bin Abu Sufyan to be the head, the Khalifa of the time, Hazrat Abu Bakr. And then the other 3 groups, the other 3 battalions, they kept in waiting, and the total number was over 3,000 troops. And then as they gathered, the numbers grew to almost 7,000 with time. Then Suhail bin Amr and all other great people, they were also with them. And Suhail bin Amr, during the time of ignorance, he was among the other leaders of non-Muslims, and at the pledge of Hudaybiyah, he did not believe by then, but at the conquest of Mecca, that's when he believed. And he called Rabi'a bin Amr and gave him a flag, and he said that you will go with Hazrat Yazid bin Abu Sufyan. This was Hazrat Abu Bakr's order, and he also gave an order, and he also ordered Yazid, and he said, I'm going to send you with a person who is one of the best person from your group, of your tribe, and is one of your best men. And as Yazid said, you have good thoughts about this man. Now my love for him has increased, commenting on him like this. And then Hazrat Abu Bakr started to work with him, with Hazrat Yazid, and then Hazrat Yazid said to the Khalifa, Hazrat Abu Bakr, that, O Khalifatul Rasul, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that you either mount and I walk, or let's separate from here. I feel bad to be riding and you are walking on foot. And then Hazrat Abu Bakr said that I will not I will not mount and I will not let you walk, because I take and consider this walking to be a walk in the way of Allah. And then advising Yazid, he said, O Yazid, I urge you to fear Allah, to follow Allah, and be obedient and submit yourself to Allah. And I urge you that when you face the enemy and you conquer your enemy, you should not mutilate their bodies, and you should remain very resolute and very courageous. But you should not kill any old man. You should not you should not kill any woman. You should not kill any child. You should not cut their farms, and you should not cut any tree that bears fruit, and you should not kill their animals except for food. And you also go past some people who will be devoted in their churches and synagogues. So you should not attack them. The monks, the priests, you should not touch them. Leave them in their worship. And you also find some people who will be satanic in looks, and their hair will not be well done. And there are certain words that you find some people who will have a bald headed in between, and apart from, they will only have hair on the sides. So those people who have cut their with bald heads in the middle, call them towards fighting. And it is said that this was a group of the Christians who were not monks, who were not priests, and they always wanted to fight the Muslims. That's why Hazrat Abu Bakr said that those who are within the monks, the monks who are within the synagogues, who are in the churches, the priests who are in the churches, don't fight them. But you should only fight those who fight you. And because there are some of them who are fighters who are fighting against you, but only fight those who fight you. And fight them until they believe, or they accept to pay jizya, to pay tax. And anybody who supports Allah and His Prophet, then Allah also supports such a person. There's also another narration, and there is a further detail of what happened, and it's narrated that Hazrat Abu Bakr told Yazid bin Sufyan and said that I've appointed you as my representative just to test you. And I wanted to send you out to prepare you, to train you. If you give your duties diligently, then I'll promote you. But if you return with defeat, then I'll demote you. And you should always remember that God sees your inside as He watches your outside. And then he said that among people, the closest person towards Allah is that one who performs Allah's duties. And the best is that one who tries to get near to Allah through their actions. I have appointed you in place of Khalid. If you get to your enemy, if you face your enemy, you should call them towards goodness. And if you are admonishing them, if you are addressing them, be brief, be precise, because if you say so much, sometimes they don't get the message. And keep everyone with you, keep everyone under you. And also you should engage in prayer at all the time, and during prayers you should supplicate before your Lord. And when end of an envoy comes from your enemy, you should respect him, and you should not make him stay for long so that they don't get to know so much about you. And you should not let them know how much you have, how strong you are, how wealthy you are. And keep them to a minimum number of people. And when you talk to them, you should not release your intentions and what your plans are. Otherwise, they will counter your plans. And when you take counsel from your fellow companions, then be honest. And when you are taking counsel, you should give them the details so that they give you the best opinion when you are seeking opinion from them. And if you are open to them, you'll receive a lot of information which will be helpful to you. And you will find a lot of secrets if you are open to them. But whatever secrets you learn from them, keep them as secrets. And you should always prepare your army. And if you find anyone unalert when they are not ready, or when they are not, if they are asleep, you should reprimand them. And of course, he said you should put that when people are giving duty, make the first half of the night to be a longer duty, because the last part of the night is difficult. Keep it shorter for those who will be giving duties at that time. Furthermore, he said that you should always keep an eye on your army. Don't talk ill about your army. Don't sit with those who are not sincere. Try to be with the honest and sincere people. Don't be coward. Otherwise, everyone will also. You should not look after the spoils of war that you might receive. It shouldn't be your motive. And then he said, you will find some people who will be devoted in their churches. Leave them engaged in whatever they're engaged in. Leave them as they are. And this was a complete plan of action, which is also incumbent, which is good for any leader, for any office bearer. And as Abu Bakr, before he sent him, he said, I am sending you as the first Amir ever for the Muslim. Not meaning that the rest are bad or weaker. So you should be kind with them, be soft with them, and also consult them, and also treat them well. And then Allah will reward you, and may Allah make you a good, kind person, and may Allah make you one of the helpers of my Khilafat. Then Hazrat Khalid took the army as he was being seen off by Hazrat Abu Bakr. Then Hazrat Abu Bakr always, every Fajr and Isha, used to pray that, oh Allah, you created us. We were nothing, but you, out of your mercy, created us, and you also sent a prophet as a mercy towards us. We were not guided, but you gave us guidance, and you have put faith in our hearts when we were disbelievers. We were very weak and small in numbers. You have made us grow in numbers. We were disorganized, and you have organized us now. We were very weak, and now you have made us strong, and you have made jihad incumbent upon us. And you have told us to fight the disbelievers until they recite and declare La ilaha illallah, or either they give tax, jizya. Oh Allah, if they don't become Muslims, then they have to pay jizya. These are your orders. Oh Allah, we refer your pleasure over the bounties. We prefer your worship against any other worship of any creature. All are transgressors who think there's anything bigger than you. Oh Allah, support the Muslims. Oh Allah, give us success, give us victory, give them victory. Those who are weak amongst them, make them strong. make them steadfast, and make them fight their enemy, and make their enemies strike fear in the hearts of their enemy, destroy their efforts, and be our protector, be our supporter, and fight with us against our enemy. Make us among those who are very appreciative, and also forgive all the Muslim men and Muslim women, those who are alive and those who are dead. Oh Allah, make us those who stand firm on your word in this life and in the hereafter. You are the most kind. You are the most merciful God of mercy. And the second troop, which was of Sharabil bin Hassana, and Sharabil bin Hassana, his father's name was Abdullah bin Mat'ab, and Hasna was the mother's name. The Kunyat was also known as Abdullah, and his father had passed away when he was young, and because the father wasn't available, she's known as Hasna on mother's name. And he was one of those commanders during the time of the Khilafat al-Rashida, after the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He died in the 13th year of Hajj at the age of 70 years, 78. Hazrat Yazid bin Yazid, and after 3 days, he called Hazrat Sharabil bin Hassana, and he said that, did you hear the words that I said to my first commander? Did you hear them? And they said, yes, I heard them. And they say, yes, I repeat the same words which I gave to Yazid. I give one thing I didn't tell him, and one of them is to offer the prayers on its proper time, and to fight the enemy until you either receive victory or you meet martyrdom. And I also urge you to praise Allah and glorify Him at all times. And then he said, of course, Yazid is acting upon whatever I told him to be doing. And now he said, I know since he's doing it, I will, Sharabil bin Hassana, he says, I will also increase on what you have added on. And he also advanced to Syria. Hazrat Sharabil's army was between 3,000 to 4,000. And then Khusra is one of the places in Syria. And then Hazrat Sharabil went to Barqa. Barqa is also another place around Syria. The group went and reached the enemy at Basra, and then they seized the city, but they could not conquer it. And then the third one was Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah, which was sent, and Amr bin Abdullah and Abdullah bin Bara was the father's name. Hazrat Abu Ubaidah was known commonly by this name, and the name Jarrah is from the grandfather, and is from among the 10 companions who were given the great good tidings of paradise by the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He also passed away in the 18th year of Hijrah. Another group which was sent, another battalion which was sent by Hazrat Abu Bakr. Hazrat Abu Ubaidah was the commander-in-chief, and was sent to Homs. Homs is another place which is near Damascus. By then, in those times, it was a big time, and and the battle, the group was about 7,000. Others say it was between 3,000 and 4,000. And as he was going through a place which is called Ma'ab, he fought these people. And during the battle, they asked for a truce. And this was the first truce which was made between the people of Syria and the Muslims. Hazrat Abu Bakr, when he was addressing Ubaidah, he says that you are among the great people of your tribe. I don't think there's anyone who has a better opinion than you, or who is stronger than you, who is more vast in war than you. But it doesn't mean that everyone is lower than you. But keep them close to you. And you are not independent of all these who are under you. If you act in this way, then you will receive a lot of goodness from them, and you'll be able to face your enemy. Hazrat Abu Ubaidah left from there and then called Qais bin Ubera and told him that I'm sending you with Ubaidah who as your leader. If you mistreat him, he's somebody who is kind. If you leave him, he is someone who will always try to join relationships. He's very kind and is very, very strong and harsh against the enemy. So whatever orders he will be giving you good orders. Now I urge you and all your companions that we've been hearing that you are people during the ignorance who during the time of ignorance, though you are not Muslims, you are good in fighting. So your courage, your skills of war, now you should use those skills against those who set partners against Allah, against the idolaters. And listening to this, Qais bin Ubera said, if you remain alive and I remain alive, then you will be receiving news which will be very encouraging, which will be pleasing to you. And then Hazrat Abu Bakr said, it's only a person like you who can utter such words and who can act in such a bravious, in a courageous way. But when the news reached Hazrat Abu Bakr that he was killed, he passed away, then Hazrat Abu Bakr said, this is someone who has fulfilled his promise. Of course, we are continuing in the same discussion in the future, but at this time and at this moment, I want to talk about one matter of our community. Is Nasir Ahmad Sahib. He was the son of Abdul Ghani Sahib in Rabwa. He used to live in the eastern part of Rabwa. On the 12th of August, he was killed by an enemy. He was attacked by a knife or a dagger. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. According to the reports, he was at the bus stop in Rabwa, and Hafiz Shahad Hasna, who is an extremist, came and then asked them that are you an Ahmadi? And Hazrat Nasir Ahmadi said, yes, I am an Ahmadi. And then he inquired him he attacked Hazrat Nasir Sahib, and in a few seconds he attacked him multiple times that the wounds were so severe that he could not sustain the wounds, and he passed away. He was 62 at the time of his death. And in his statement, the killer, he said that I don't feel any remorse on my act, and if I get another chance in the future, I will do the same. And whatever happened, it was just in an instant when he was demanding that he should be chanting slogans of the Khatam-e-Nabuwat But whatever happened, whatever the attack that Nasim Sahib received was by Allah's design, and Ahmadiyya came to their family through their Firoz Sahib, their grandfather, who was from the province of Sialkot, and he accepted Ahmadiyya during the second Khalifa's time. After education, he became the support of his family, and he stayed in Malaysia for some time. Then after some time, he came back to Pakistan. First of all, he returned and was working in Sialkot, but after some time he fell ill, and then he came to Rabwa, and most of the time he was spending it serving and he was in Muntazim Ansar, organizing, and he was also working in the departments of finance, and he was very skilled, and he was always helping the Imam. He was working always with the missionaries, and he was a very clean person. He was very honest, very hardworking, and because he had a fracture, and he used to work with a limp, but he would always be ready to give duty anytime he was called for. He was someone who was always regular in prayers. He had a very strong love with the Khilafat Ahmadiyya, and he would always listen to Quran Sharif, the Tilawat, for 1 hour every morning, and every day he would go to Beshti Makbara and would engage in prayers. Whenever he's called for any duty, he would be the first one to respond, and he never refused to offer any service. And the Mubaraka Sahiba, who is the daughter, says and that he saw in a dream that there is a sadness, and people had gathered, and he gave sadaqah, and then he said that my time is very near, and he has been survived by the wife and 3 daughters. May Allah give them the fortitude to bear their loss. His brother Tanwir Akhtar Sahib writes and says that though he was not much educated, but he had a strong love for the community, and he was a very simple person, and he was always a very happy person, and whenever he comes home, he would try to bring something for the household, and he would always try to wear new clothes, and he is always clean. Especially for Eid, he would make sure he wears some new clothes, and then he would the brother says he would give me his new clothes and then take my old ones, and then he says he always kept a phone near him, that whenever there is a call for any help, he would always be ready to respond to any call. And then he has been a help in many ways. He did not consider himself. He would put other people's health and need above him. May Allah Almighty elevate his status in paradise, and may Allah give him a high status in paradise and help the relatives and enable them to follow his footsteps in his foot.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر.
ما كان محمد أبا أحد من رجالكم ولكن رسول الله وخاتم النبيين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت